To finish Paleolithic period, we are going to talk about the culture and the art in this phase of prehistory. And we usually use the word symbolic manifestation to talk about all the things that are related with the art and the culture because they were very connected with religious beliefs. This symbolic manifestation started for the first time with the first burials. 100,000 years ago, the Neanderthal was the first one to bury their dead. These Neanderthals that buried their dead usually put some pieces, some stones, food, and things and adornments close to the body of their family members to join the death to the afterlife. This group of objects were called grave goods, in Spanish, ajuar funerario, and they were the objects that they thought that maybe they were useful to the afterlife. This manifestation means that the Neanderthal believed in the idea of the soul or some kind of life after the death, and is the first religious manifestation in history. But not only the Neanderthals buried the dead, the Homo sapiens buried too, and they were more complex in this kind of burials. Here you have an example that a multiple burial with several people here, 3 persons, buried together with different food and things. You can see, for example, pieces of meat. You can see some horns and pieces of bone, and all the clothes and the adornments and the things that join the death to the travel, in the travel to the other side. But around 35,000 years ago, the Homo sapiens started painting the walls of the caves. This is the most ancient example of art that we have, and this kind of manifestation is related with religion. It's not a decorating activity. It's an activity related with magic rituals that happen inside the caves. These caves, if you remember, they were only inhabited in the gate, in the part of the cave that they had light of the sun. Inside, very deeply inside the cave, we are going to find the paintings. These paintings are in very difficult places. It's difficult to access to these places, and it's not it's not easy to see sometimes the paintings. They were like hidden. So they were related with the idea maybe of making offerings or rituals to the earth to get some kind of help. For example, to get more food, to increase the hunting activity. And they are 2 kinds of representation. Animals like this, but sometimes we have symbols, very difficult to understand, and there are more symbols than animals painted, okay? But the symbols are very, very complicated, and we don't understand exactly the meaning of them. To make this cave painting, or this, in Spanish, pinturas rupestres, they use natural pigments. They use ochre and other minerals with color, and usually they use 2 or 3 colors. Because of that, we call this kind of paintings polychromes. That means polychromo, several colors. Sometimes they use only one color, and we talk about monochrome, monochromo. That means only one color, okay? Poly means several in Greek, and mono means one. So, the complexity of the walls painted in the caves is huge. And it's huge because they paint animals and symbols in the same places in the cave during hundreds and thousands of years. So we can find paintings from the beginning of the Upper Paleolithic to the end of the Upper Paleolithic, from the 35,000 years ago to the 10,000 years ago in the same wall. That means that this wall, this kind of spaces were very sacred, very important and special for them, and they always paint in the same places because they thought that something happened, something religious happened. Maybe they can explain some kind of myths talking about the origin of the world or the gods. Maybe they are making rituals to provide more hunt or to avoid dangers or ask for help to the ancestor or the gods. We don't know exactly, but this is not a decorating activity. Remember that you can play a video to show how was one of these caves, the Lascaux caves, one of the most important in France, and discover the different corridors and cameras of the cave. But there is another type of art, is the portable art. And this portable art, we call in Spain arte mueble or mobiliar because it could be moved. This portable art is very, very different. We can find some religious art here, like the Venus, for example, that the representation of women with a huge breast, belly, and heights, usually representation of pregnant women that are symbols of fertility. They were used probably to help the birth and help the group to survive with more children. But we have two tools that were decorated, like for example this spear thrower, decorated with engraving of a horse. Engraving means grabado, like this or this. One of the most important and mysterious object is the button of command. This kind of horn with a hole were like these kind of objects were like pendants that show command, authority, used by the chiefs of the tribes. We don't know exactly the function, but maybe this was like a crown to symbolize the power. They have a lot of figurines that maybe they were toys for the kids or they were used in rituals, we don't know. To finish, remember that you can see the video again of the cave of Altamira, one of the most important caves in Spain, and look at the different paintings and the way of life of these people in the cave.